Something is eating your garden right now. Not maybe. Not possibly. Right now, while you are watching this, something is on your plants. The question is not whether you have pests. In late July, every garden does. The question is which three you are most likely dealing with, and whether you are solving them or just watching them spread. I have all three in my garden this week. Here's exactly what I am doing about each one. Pest number 1 hides underneath the leaves, and you have probably already missed it. Pest number 2 lays eggs in clusters. By the time the damage is visible, the next generation is already on its way. And pest number 3 is the one that stops gardeners cold, because it looks like the plant is sick, not eaten. Most people reach for fertilizer. That is exactly the wrong move. 3 pests. 3 fixes. Stay for the third one, because that is the one most people get completely backwards. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell. Every week, practical garden science that actually works. Aphids. You already know the name. What most people do not know is how fast they move. A single aphid reproduces without mating. 1 aphid becomes 100 in 10 days. 100 becomes 10,000 in 3 weeks. They do not need a partner. They do not need time. They just need your plant. They cluster on the undersides of new growth, the soft tips of stems, the newest leaves. That is why you miss them until the damage is done. You are looking at the top of the leaf. They are on the bottom. Here is what they are actually doing to your plant. Aphids pierce the stem and drink the phloem, the sugary liquid the plant uses to transport energy from leaves to roots. They are not just sitting there. They are draining the plant's fuel supply in real time. The first sign is not the aphid itself. It is a sticky residue on the leaves, called honeydew, left behind as they feed. If your leaves feel sticky and you cannot see why, look underneath. They are there. The fix is not complicated. A strong jet of water from a hose knocks them off and breaks the cluster. Do it in the morning so the plant dries before evening. Do it 3 days in a row. That breaks the reproductive cycle because the nymphs that fall cannot climb back fast enough before they die. If the infestation is heavy, clusters covering multiple stems, dilute dish soap in water, 1 teaspoon per liter, and apply directly to the colony. It works by suffocating them. Rinse the plant an hour later so the soap does not sit on the leaves in heat. 2 treatments, 3 days apart. That is usually enough. Squash bugs are different. Water does not knock them off. Soap does not faze them. They are armored, fast-moving, and they reproduce in a very specific way that most gardeners never learn to interrupt. The adults lay eggs in neat, bronze-colored clusters on the undersides of leaves, usually tucked into the angle where the leaf meets the stem. The eggs take about 10 days to hatch. That 10-day window is everything. If you find the eggs before they hatch, you can remove them completely. Peel them off with a piece of tape or scrape them with a fingernail into a container of soapy water. That egg cluster represents 30 to 50 bugs that will never exist. That is a better return than anything you will do after they hatch. After they hatch, the nymphs are easier to kill than the adults, but they move fast and they scatter. Diatomaceous earth applied around the base of the plant and along the stems creates a physical barrier. It is fossilized algae, sharp at a microscopic level, and it damages their outer shell as they cross it. They dehydrate and die within 48 hours. The adults are harder. Hand-picking in the early morning when they are slow is the most reliable method. They congregate under leaves and along the soil surface at night. A torch and a container of soapy water, 5 minutes every morning, removes more bugs than most sprays. The one thing that actually reduces squash bug pressure long-term: remove all plant debris from the garden at the end of the season. The adults overwinter in dead plant material. Leave nothing behind and next year starts with a smaller population. If you have made it this far, the third pest is the one I want you to stay for. Because it is the one that looks like a nutrition problem, feels like a watering problem, and turns out to be something completely different. The tomato hornworm is large enough to see and almost impossible to find. That sounds like a contradiction. It is not. A fully grown hornworm is 10 centimeters long and as thick as a finger. It can strip a tomato plant of its leaves in 48 hours. And because it is exactly the same green as the stem it is sitting on, most people walk past it 6 times before they find it. What you notice first is not the caterpillar. It is the frass, small dark pellets of waste dropping from the plant onto the soil below. If you see a mess of dark droppings under a tomato or pepper plant, look up. The hornworm is directly above. The second sign is sudden defoliation from the top of the plant downward. Not yellowing. Not spotting. Just gone. Stems stripped clean overnight. People assume disease. They assume nutrient deficiency. They start treating the wrong problem. Look for the frass first. Then look for the caterpillar above it. Shine a UV light on the plant in the dark. Hornworms fluoresce bright green under UV, which makes them dramatically easier to spot. Once you find it, remove it by hand. Drop it into soapy water. One hornworm removed is potentially 50 plants saved. A single female moth can lay 200 eggs. One more thing about hornworms. If you find a hornworm covered in small white rice-shaped attachments, do not remove it. Those are the cocoons of braconid wasps, a parasitoid that lays its eggs inside the hornworm and kills it from the inside. The wasps that emerge will go on to parasitize other hornworms in your garden. Leave that caterpillar exactly where it is. It is already dying and it is working for you. 3 pests. 3 completely different strategies. Aphids. Interrupt the reproductive cycle with water and time. Squash bugs. Find the eggs before they hatch and remove the generation before it starts. Hornworms. Look for the evidence before you look for the pest. What all 3 have in common is this. The window that matters is before the damage looks bad. By the time a plant looks visibly distressed, the population has already been reproducing for 2 or 3 cycles. You are not treating the problem. You are treating the result of a problem that started 2 weeks ago. Check the undersides of leaves. Look for frass. Look for egg clusters in the stem angles. Spend 5 minutes doing that every morning and you will catch all 3 of these before they ever reach the level where they become difficult. 5 minutes, every morning. That is the entire strategy. Nature is patient. So are we. Tell me in the comments, which one of these 3 is in your garden right now? And have you ever found a hornworm covered in those white wasp cocoons? I read every single one. Your garden is not failing you. It is teaching you. I will see you in the next file.